Welcome back to Unapologetically Woman. We're celebrating phenomenal women all across Kentucky who make no apologies for their perspectives or the impacts that they're making in the community. Today we're celebrating Melinda Wofford. Melinda is the first Black woman elected to Burgin, Kentucky City Council. She's the Assistant Director for the Division of Vehicle Registration in the Department of Motor Vehicle Licensing, and she's a lifelong Girl Scout. Unapologetically Woman, Melinda Wofford, that's you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So I see you got your kicks on. You must be ready for the next race.
Yes, I have a race coming up this weekend.
And so tell me about what you do, because I think you've been in all 50 states running marathons.
Yes, I have a personal goal to complete a half marathon in all 50 states plus DC, and I completed my goal in 2024 in January.
Why does that bring you joy to do that?
When I first started, that wasn't my original goal. It was just to run, to get in shape, to meet people. And then I decided to venture out and run regional. And then ventured out more and decided just to do a half marathon in all the states. And it just brings me joy just to meet new people and then just to know that I've accomplished. Every time I put on my running shoes and I cross the start line and I finish, it's an accomplishment.
Wow. I don't know if that's something that I would do to meet new people, but it sounds like it's an interesting thing to do because you also like to visit the state parks too.
Yes. And when I go to run, my goal is not to just to run, but I do want to do something that is unique to the area. So if there's not a national park to go to, I always try to look up something that's pertaining to me. So any kind of African American museum, I would try to visit.
What's been your favorite location?
My favorite location, there's so many. I really liked when I ran in Tulsa. And I ran right after they had the 100th year celebration of the Greenwood. So, and it was beautiful out there. It was very cold when I went, it was in November. So that's maybe one of my favorite races that I've done. But as far as the states, most of the states that you go to, they're very beautiful. There's only been one that I've gone to that I didn't really care for.
Okay.
But I won't mention that one.
Okay, we don't have to. We don't have to. But when you're running, and you were talking about your favorite one, what was going through your mind when you were running? Did it have anything to do with the events that were going on that had happened previously?
No, usually when I'm running, I just get in my zone and I just want to get finished. So, and it's a lot of times it's really painful and it's really more of your mindset. So I'll start praying for people and thinking about people, and I'm not really thinking about the race or running. I'm just thinking about getting the finish.
And so you talked about praying, but you were, always brought up in the church, and that plays an important role in your life.
Yes, I think I'm where I am because I did grow up in a Black church with family. It was a small country church, and I'm very engaged. So from an early age, I knew that you had to work, and very humbling, and you just don't think about self all the time.
Well, that's the part of it. You're always giving back, and you even teach Sunday school.
I am the Sunday school superintendent. I have taught Sunday school before. I've been the VBS director. I've kind of handed that off, but I've been the VBS director maybe 18, 20 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes.
And how long does that, is it a week long or is it a couple of weeks?
When we do our VBS at my church at Little Zion, it's in Burgin, we do a week long.
And so it's in Burgin. Is that where you attend church? Do you drive back and forth?
I grew up in Burgin, and I was born in Indiana, but we moved back to Kentucky at an early age, so I do consider myself a Kentuckian. And the little school that I went to, it was K through 12. I started maybe in the second grade, and I did graduate. We had maybe 34 in our graduating class.
I had 27, so I'm used to, the small country schools, things like that.
Yes.
And so you have been in a lot of different roles, and one of the roles that you've been in is near and dear to my heart because you worked at a community action agency before.
Yes, that was maybe my first professional community position. So, and I got the position because of my connections with my community. So I've always been on some kind of board. I was on the Ragged Edge of the Community Theater Board, been a Girl Scout leader for several years. And when one position was ending, there was a lady that went to my church. She said, "Melinda, you're so connected with the community." She was like, "Why don't you apply for this position?" And I did, and I really enjoyed that. I was able to help people along the way. We did commodities, help people pay their electric bills. We even had funds to help people with training. And I remember a young man that I helped, he went to get his CDL license. And today he has his own trucking business, like towing business, and very successful, just from doing like a little certification.
Wow. And that is incredible. That's incredible. Not just is that something that you've done professionally, but you're also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority,
Yes.
and which is grounded in community service.
Yes, service to all mankind.
You're an advocate for your community. What inside you makes that important for you?
I just think that everybody needs an opportunity. Everybody needs a chance. So when I started doing Girl Scouts, before I started Girl Scouts, I knew I wanted to do something to help people. And I first thought about doing Big Brothers, Big Sisters, but I wanted to make a bigger impact. So I started with Girl Scouts. And just everybody needs somebody to help them with their voice. And all the girls that I was the leader over, I still see them today, and they say, "Miss Melinda, just the things that we did together, you really helped me." Whether it was baking a cake in a little box outside, or going to a museum, or going to go swim, but just to have an impact.
So usually people that are advocates for their community, their family or something that happened in their past gives them the energy to want to do that. How did your family influence the work that you do?
My family, they are very supportive. So I've got a lot of aunties and uncles, and they were always encouraging me to do better, to do this or to do that. Anything that I've done, they've been supportive of. They don't even live in my city. They wanted yard signs to put in their yards. And I said, "You can't vote for me."
It doesn't matter.
Yes. But I think just growing up, because I was the only person that looked like me in my class, and just knowing that how I was treated, just because I looked a certain type of way or maybe wore a certain type of clothes, that didn't define me.
How did your parents handle, and I want to take the words, maybe you were teased or bullied or something like that in the classrooms because you were the only one?
My mom, she always had my back. They did not want to see my mom coming to the school. But she was very supportive, but she was also real. So she would say, "Don't do this or that, because this is going to be the outcome." So, and I had my grandparents. It was like a village in my church.
Yes.
They were supportive, but so I don't really feel like I was bullied. I just felt like I needed a voice, and the people at the school, they weren't there to help me. So I had my church family, and I had my family that always had my back and said, "You can do this. You can do whatever you want to do."
And your mom wasn't playing, and they knew it.
Yes, yes.
Say her name. What's your mom's name?
Joyce.
Joyce.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about what you do now.
So what I do now, I work for the Transportation Cabinet. I'm assistant director, and I'm fairly new to my role, just right under a year, and it's been great. It's a lot of learning, and just to be in upper management was just a brand new thing for me. Because I was always okay with doing behind the scenes work, but to be up front is totally different. And we have to engage with legislators, and then just top management at our cabinet. Our secretary is Secretary Gray. So everybody knows Secretary Gray, and he's very nice, very humble person. So I've enjoyed my time so far at Transportation Cabinet.
Well, that's on a totally different level. You know, when you're out there and you're having to, I don't want to use the word lobby, but you're having to have all of these different conversations with legislators.
Yes.
Does it ever get stressful or tiring, or do you thrive on the energy of it?
It's not tiring, and that's just because, so I'm a newly elected official. I'm starting my second term, and from that, I've had some training and interaction with other officials. So I kind of know what to expect.
Is this an elected position that you're in right now?
No, this is not elected official, but to deal with the legislators is not anything that is, it's not scary.
Not scary to you at all, because you've already been on the city council, so tell us about that.
So being on the city council, I started attending our city council meetings. We had a lot of things going on in the neighborhoods that look like me, people that look like me, and we just had some concerns. And the mayor would ask, if we had anything that was on our mind. So we had flooding issues. We've always had flooding issues where I live, but after we had some sewer work done, the flooding issues got worse. Wow. And we wanted some answers. We wanted to know what's going to happen. So we've got families leaving. And I was sitting in a city council meeting, and one of the ladies that goes to my church, she said, Melinda, she's like, she said, you could be a city council person. And I was like, I could be a city council person. So the next day, she sent me information on how to sign up. And I did the paperwork, and the rest is history. So I got elected that first year. I was just going to sign up and have my name on the ballot. So one of my real good friends, she's a school teacher, she said, Melinda, she said, we need to get your yard signs done. We need to go we need to go to door campaigning. I was like, I don't want to do all that. I just want to get elected. She said, no, the people need to see you.
That's right.
So we did, she had her cousin, we did pictures, and my tag was a community leader who will go the extra mile. So that tied into my running. And we went door to door, and door to door was very unusual because people, they said, you're the first person that's ever come to see me, and yes, I will vote for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
good for you.
And then some people would say, oh, you went to this school, or you grew up here, I'm going to vote for you. So people like that I had an education. People like that I was a runner. Because some people, they said, I've seen you someplace. I'm like, you probably have, because I run around town a lot. So my first term, when I got elected, I got the second highest votes, which was really crazy to me because we had a lot of people that were coming back onto city council. So the first year was great. Second year, I started asking more questions, so the city workers don't.
You got to see where you fit in, and then
So they don't really like that I ask a lot of questions, but my background is being an internal auditor, so I'm definitely going to ask questions. And then, of course, now that I'm with the state, I deal a lot with statutes, so I know that there's laws that we have to follow.
You definitely are. You are the girl that is going to pay attention to those details.
Yes. Because
all of your work that you've done, and even your volunteerism, all connects back to paying attention to details.
Yes.
And so I'm interested in knowing how it feels when you know that the decisions that you're making and that your vote on the council could change the lives of a lot of people, even communities.
That it makes me really think about what I'm going to vote on, and I do try to listen to the people around me that have concerns. So in November, our city voted to go wet, and there's a lot of the people that I'm close with, they did not want that. So now we're working on getting our ordinance for what's going to be coming.
And so why would somebody, that's what I just need to know, do people not want alcohol sold in their communities?
I think because they think that it's going to be right there by their house. And we don't have planning and zoning, so we have no control over if somebody wants to come in
I see.
And build something that could be right where they are.
They don't want that, like, in
Right.
their backyard, so to speak.
Correct.
Wow, I get that. And I guess I would not have ever thought about it like that. I would think about, crime or, whatever, but I didn't think about it.
So, and it's the other things that come with it. People, they think it's going to bring people that are going to be, I guess on the streets, drinking all the time, maybe more crime. So it's a small town.
And they want to make sure that they're protecting it.
Yes. And then you think about the money that we're going to get. Are we really going to get a lot of money for it, from passing this? So, and who's actually going to get the money?
Right. And is there a town close enough where people could go and purchase alcohol if they wanted it or whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
But so they finally voted and they said yes.
Yes. The people voted and they said that they wanted it. So now we've got to work out the details on how it's going to be.
Wow. I'm excited about seeing how that works out.
Yes.
Because usually dry towns want to stay dry towns, and wet towns can't ever think about not being wet.
Right.
So let me ask you something. You have a personal vision. Tell me about that.
My vision, I always want to help others be the best that they can be. Mm-hmm. So that's one of my goals, is to, especially as a director and the staff that I work with, I've got 2 branch managers and I've got 6 supervisors that work under. I just want us all to be the best that we can be, so that we can, we're a work family.
Well, and the work that you do really is not just about you, or you really want to make things better for other people, because Governor Andy Beshear asked you to speak when he signed the Crown Act.
Yes, that was a great opportunity. That was really, I had no idea that was going to happen. I was just working, and I got a call from the Secretary of Personnel, and she said, "Melinda, I have a question for you." And so let me back up. I completed the Governor Minority Management Training Program with the state, and I completed that in April of last year. And so from that, we were kind of out in the open, and there was we got to do classes and speak with a lot of people, like in state government. And then when we finished, we had our graduation at the Rotunda. So the governor was there, Lieutenant Governor, and so Mary Elizabeth, she knew me personally, and she called, and she called and she left a message and said to call her. And I was just like, why?
What does she want?
I was like, why is she calling me? And I had just started my position, so I told my director, I said, I might be fired. And he said, Melinda, he said, no. He said, what's going on? And I told him, he's like, well, you need to call back. And so she said, Melinda, she's like, I've got to ask you about something. She's like, would you be willing to come to, the governor's going to do a proclamation for Juneteenth and then do something for the Crown Act. She said, now you can say no. She said, but I would like for you to come. I was like, yes, great. I was like, sure. And she's like, okay, I'm going to ask you something else. She said, you can say no. She said, would you be willing to give remarks? And I couldn't say no. I had to say yes. So, of course, I said yes. And she said, okay, I need your remarks typed up and sent to me by 12 o'clock tomorrow. And it was like 4 o'clock. So I had to scramble. And they vet everything. So I just put down words from my heart, and I sent it to them. They did not censor any of it. And so I was able to stand and give remarks before the governor signed the Crown Act. And then took pictures, and I got the pen to prove it. So that was very exciting. And just to know that the legislators, they wouldn't pass the bill. The bill's been out there several times to do that for the state. And so the governor said, you know what, let me do this executive order.
Let's just do it and get it done.
Yeah, because so many people get discriminated against just because, their hair. And that shouldn't be a thing.
That should not be a thing. And
Yeah.
but sometimes if it is, then you just got to say, I don't support that.
Yes.
And I think that's what Andy did.
Yes.
As we so lovingly call him.
Yes.
Hi, it's Andy. So I'm going to pitch it to you for the last word. For young girls or young women that might be watching and thinking, I'd like to be like her someday.
I would just say be open to opportunities. One thing that I would always try to hold myself back and not do things, but when I say yes, there's so many different things that I've had the opportunity to do. So as a runner, I had the opportunity to be on a relay team for Ironman. I was a runner on that. That hadn't happened in any kind of history, so we made history doing that. I've had the opportunity to speak for give remarks for the governor because I said yes. Mm-hmm. So there are so many different opportunities that you would have just to say yes. And then there's always somebody that's going to be there to be your cheerleader or to help you. You may be scared or nervous, but somebody's there, somebody's got your back. And I would also say just be humble and keep God first.
Thank you so much. You guys heard it from Melinda. Just say yes when you need to say yes and keep God first, and it's all going to work out for the best. Continue to watch as we celebrate other phenomenal women just like Melinda on Unapologetically Woman.